I am 365 days substance free, and today I am celebrating being completely sober for New Year's Eve. It is such a gift. And in order to celebrate, I want to share with you some of the lessons that I have learned in the process of going completely substance free. What's worked for me, what can help you, and just the things that nobody ever told me when I was going to quit. So, my name is Christopher Armstrong. I am a transformation coach who specializes in helping people like me to break free from their addictions. Because this life is the most interesting, powerful, weird, beautiful video game that exists. And we have the ability to live our life any way that we want to, as long as we're willing to reprogram, release our old self, and choose to do things in a way that's completely different from the way our parents and our society has taught us. So, I'm going to give you the 5 most important things that I've learned in this year of being substance free. Number 1, you can't do this alone. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to hire somebody to help you, but you got to have support. You got to have maybe community, friends, loved ones, family members who are behind you and supporting you and cheering you on at whatever level. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I personally did it without 12-step, no rehab. I didn't do it with any pharmaceutical medicines, no therapy, actually. I did it all utilizing unconscious reprogramming methods. But I did it with help from coaches, help from friends, help from people who were willing to hold me accountable. And even people in my social media accounts who I said, hey, I'm going to take a year off. And by God, because I told them, I was going to make sure to do it. Because that's the second thing that's most important, is having some sort of accountability. Accountability is essential for at least 40% of us. According to The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Phelps, great book that I help my clients to tap into when they're looking to make major changes in their life, because some of us need to be held accountable. Some of us show up to a job and turn in our best work to a boss who's expecting our work to show up on their desk. Some of us don't need that. But having some sort of accountability system, whether to yourself or to someone externally, is super, super important. For me, it was external accountability, helped me to create success over this last year. Number 3 most powerful thing that I learned is you gotta really learn about complex trauma. Now, there's big T trauma, which is essentially, getting into a car wreck, having experienced some sort of abuse, kidnapping, I don't know, whatever. Then there's complex trauma, which essentially is long, slow burning trauma of growing up in an environment where you didn't get your needs met. I know it doesn't sound that intense. I grew up in a loving family with all the material possessions that one could possibly need. And yet still I experienced complex trauma because I did not have my mental and emotional needs met. My parents were doing absolutely the best that they could with the knowledge that they had at the time. And still, it was not enough for me. And it led to the creation of unconscious patterns, such as using substances or other behaviors as coping mechanisms, or to survive, to get by. So learning about complex trauma is absolutely essential. Without it, I don't know that you're going to be able to easily get free from substances. You certainly can. But I will say that so many of the rehab, 12-step programs, etc., are treating the disease, they're treating the addiction. But the addiction isn't the issue. The issue is much deeper. And that's where complex trauma is going to help you to understand the roots of those behaviors. So the next thing that's super, super important is understanding the power of goals. Now, I set the goal of 365 days, 1 year, completely substance free. And in order to not relapse, it's best to celebrate at 90%, mostly because that last 10% is the hardest to achieve. Just as humans, it's a long story, but the closer that we get to a goal, the more difficult it is to achieve it because our motivation slows down. The momentum starts to slow. That's why like the last couple of pounds or kilos is the hardest to lose, is because we start getting closer to the goal and it doesn't seem as urgent. So what we can do to avoid that is to celebrate at 90%, take that last 10%, turn it into a part of the new goal. So for example, I celebrated by buying myself a ticket to an ecstatic dance festival, and then I'm writing a new goal, 2 years substance free. Now the last thing I'm going to share with you about something that I learned in this process of going substance free is that once you get rid of the substances, buckle up, because there's 3 things that can become very difficult for us. And it has to do with what's called process addiction. Substances is reaching out to something outside of us to get the satisfaction, the coping, the numbing, the disconnection, the distraction, whatever it is that we're getting, whatever we seem to need in order to survive, or that our mind thinks that we need in order to survive. And then we shift into sugar, sex, and or money. Ooh, these are tricky ones. And in the last year, I have had experiences with every single one of them. Relationship challenges, sexual addiction, craving type stuff, money under-earning issues, overspending issues, all kinds of stuff with money. Impulse control is a huge thing. And money is tricky, especially in the society that we are in, which is constantly trying to get you to buy things and to do it quickly. Now, the sugar, the food, that's another interesting one. That has definitely been a challenge for me. And it's partly to do with what I dealt with as a child, the kind of patterns that my parents were involved in, a lot of overeating or eating to celebrate. I mean, it's just very common in this society that we celebrate with food. We meet our friends and eat food. Oh, you're turning 40. Awesome. Let's eat some food. So that was huge and challenging, and still remains at some level a bit challenging, but it's becoming easier because I've been getting to the unconscious roots, the patterns that lie deep within the unconscious mind that keep us doing the same thing over and over again, even though we don't want to. And the bonus little nugget for you that I've learned in this process is that willpower is not enough. If willpower was enough, cigarette smokers wouldn't smoke cigarettes. I mean, 80% of them don't want to. The pharmaceutical studies have shown that, and that's quality research, because guess what? They sell people drugs to quit smoking cigarettes. So if 80% of people don't want to smoke, why aren't they smoking? It's because willpower is not enough. Just wanting to not do the drug or engage in the addictive behavior is not enough. You've got to reprogram at a deep unconscious, subconscious level, and then you can create success. So here's the thing. I want to help you. I want to support you, because I didn't know these things going into this. And I want to help you make this process so much easier, because it doesn't have to be that difficult. And so there are some links and some information below, because I'm going to be releasing a program in January of 2025 to help you to break free from your issue, your addiction, whatever it is, in 90 days. Utilizing all of the techniques that I have used, utilizing all of the processes, all of the experience, all of the knowledge that I have gained to make it easy. Now, there's still going to be work, of course. You still got to show up. You still got to invest in yourself. And it doesn't have to be that hard. I can tell you that as it's New Year's Eve, and I had a beautiful day dancing, celebrating, playing all day long. I'm actually not at the party right now because I am tired and I want to get some sleep, but I wanted to record this first. And I am celebrating that I have no desire to engage in any drug habits. I don't want to pop any pills or eat any mushrooms or smoke any weed or anything. And I can celebrate that because a year ago, that was not the case, which is why I got into this commitment for myself in the first place. More on that soon, but follow the information below. Subscribe to get some more information because I am here to help you to transform your life by transforming your mind. Because there is a great awakening happening on this planet. Human consciousness is hitting a new level, and those of us that have some of the deepest addictions and the most challenging mental and emotional problems are the ones that came here to be the leaders, the healers, the teachers, the guides, the wisdom keepers in the future. And I want to help you to break free because you chose to break your family curses just like I did. And I want to make sure that you can do that without having to do it alone. So follow the info below, subscribe, like this, and you know what? Send it to somebody who you think could benefit. Could be kind of tricky, huh? Like somebody sends you a video and says, hey, by the way, addiction. Oh, I trust your intuition, and if it's for them, they'll be grateful. So my name is Christopher Armstrong. Excited to be supporting you on this journey and excited to continue my journey substance-free. You're still here. That's a good sign. Look, I'm going to make a simple promise to you. I can help you to go from addiction to completely free in just 90 days. The process is the same one that I used for myself, where we essentially quantum leap into a new version of yourself. We use the most effective techniques, including hypnotherapy and neurolinguistic programming, among others, in order to change you at a deep level so that you stop living the way that you used to and you start living the new life that you know that you're ready for. Now, look, I know this works because it's worked for me. I just celebrated 365 days substance free, and I'm now 5 years and counting alcohol free. And that was a big leap for me, considering that I used to be a professional alcoholic. I used to get high and drink on the daily, but you can make that change, and I'm here to help you. So if you're interested in this program, comment ready in the comments below, or use the links in the description to stay in touch. Get hooked up with our newsletter, and you'll be the first one to receive information as soon as this process is ready to start. If you're ready to transform, I'm here to help you. And it's easier than you think and faster than you've ever been taught.